one hell of a view. Doesn't do it justice on camera. That's crazy.
Hey folks, Good Guy Glenn here, and today I'm in Cresskill, New Jersey on Magnolia Avenue. This is bittersweet for me. This is my old neighborhood. I grew up next door. We moved here in 1976, I believe, and I lived here until just a few years ago. I sold my home here. I lived other places off and on, but I always owned the property that my parents bought back when I was a kid. Now it's the end of an era. I sold the last house on the block that had one of the original families that lived on this block when I was a kid. There it is. 171 Magnolia Avenue, Cresskill, New Jersey. Look at that view. Can't even begin to tell you all the memories. I grew up 2 doors down. Used to be a pool over here. And over in that corner was the garden that Mr. Bisogno had. This is a big piece of property. I spent so much time walking up and down this very sidewalk. It's just so surreal. This is where I lived, 159 Magnolia Avenue. Of course, this wasn't the house I grew up in. That's long since been torn down, and they built this instead. But this is the corner I used to hang out on. A lot of memories here. Got a lot of weird feelings. I've always wanted to do this video because this is where I grew up, but I just never knew how to go about doing it. And then I got this listing next door, and it was just bittersweet in a way. You have to understand, like, for years, regardless if I was in the military or if I moved around the country, this was always the place that I could come home to. This was always the safety. Now it's gone. I mean, I've come to grips with the fact that my childhood home has been gone for many years now. Not many years, I mean a few years now. But what really let it sink in was when I took the listing at 171. And it's an end of an era. Yeah, right here. Me and my friends called this 8 block. When we were kids, I used to ride my big wheel over here, up and down this street. There was a bunch of us back then. There's the Rodinos that lived there, the Menkes, the Talatis, the Warmings. We play kickball. I want to say that this was home base, But if I'm not mistaken, I think that there was another manhole cover when we were kids over here. When we were kids in the 70s and 80s, this house wasn't here. It was an empty lot. We used to hang out over there. This was where I lived. It's a nice house that they built there, I have to say. Much better than the house I lived in that was there. Lived in an old side hall colonial, I guess you would call it. Built in 1901. Had a big wraparound porch on it. But over the years, it just fell into disrepair. It's weird to be here. Used to walk the dog up this way. My boy Casper. He was a good dog. It's really weird. This was Kenny Fritz's house. He used to throw these rager 4th of July parties. He's gone. He sold earlier this year. Growing up, this road was dirt. It's a dirt road. Used to ride my bike there, jump the potholes. It's good times. I walked up this hill a lot, especially in the last years I lived here because I had the dog, and we would always walk up and around the park. A lot of good exercise. Man, I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while, but I never really could grasp the idea of how I was going to do it. So I'm just out here filming. Whatever happens, happens. So when I was a kid on the corner of 10th and Magnolia here, that was the Garcia property. There's one big house on there. It sat empty for years. Mr. Garcia died in the early 80s. I don't exactly remember what all the controversy was. Apparently he had left his property to a church or some charity. And I think his family probated the will. And it went on for years, and I don't really know the rest of the story after that. But eventually, in the mid-2000s, they started to develop the property. And now there's about 4 houses sitting on it. This right here, this cut through, used to be a hill that cut between the McCabe property and the Garcia property. And the town eventually put a cut through here. It used to be tall on both sides, almost like cliffs. This used to be dirt, and this area right here would fill with water and freeze, and the dog would pull me and I would slip and nearly break my neck. And then there's the park. I basically grew up in this park. I can't really show the park too well. There's kids playing there, and there's rules on YouTube as far as that goes. And plus, I wouldn't want my kids on some strange video either. But this is the park back in the 70s where we used to play. And it was interesting. It was an interesting time. The town has certainly changed dramatically since we moved here from Jersey City back in '76. Way more overdeveloped. It's definitely much more country. It's baseball fields. We used to hang out on top of that baseball backstop when we were kids. Used to walk my dog right along here. Casper, he was such a good boy. He was a Dogo Argentino. I miss him all the time. I think about getting another dog, but I'm too old to do it now. It's just weird. They're always adding more and more sheds here. This is a concession stand. This wasn't here when we were kids at all. These dugouts used to be actual real dugouts that went down subterranean, down maybe 4 steps. It was a great spot to hide. We used to let the dogs play in here. You're not allowed to do that anymore. To be honest, I don't think you were ever allowed to do it when we did it. Yeah, man. Twelfth Street and Stivers. I was lucky. I grew up in this town. We moved here from Jersey City. Jersey City was in a bad spot when we moved out. As far as rampant crime, just wasn't what it is. Like Jersey City today is going through a renaissance. It's a beautiful place to live. And my family lived there for decades since they came to this country. And we moved away and we moved here. It's just like a totally different scene. Down Stivers. This was a dirt road when I was a kid, and even when I got my license, this was a dirt road. So we would do some Dukes of Hazzard stuff down here. Yeah, it was a different time. This property, it always amazes me that no one has bought this property and redeveloped it into building some dumb McMansion. Look at that view. It's the corner of 10th Street and Stivers. It's crazy. So the interesting part of this is my old paper route where it started. I'm not going to walk all the way down, but it started down there. And then at one point I had almost every house on this block. I delivered the Bergen record here. after school. I would tie the wagon. It was like a shopping cart, an old lady shopping cart. Tied it to the back of my bike. And I'd deliver the paper. And then on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, I would collect. Knock on the door, it was $2. Generally, I think it was $1 for the week and $1 tip for the delivery. That's what we did. And back around to my home. This is where I grew up, folks. Right here. Spent a lot of years of my life here. I'd come home on leave from the Marine Corps here. This was my sanctuary. You know, this is what I called home. When I got homesick, this is the place I wanted to be. This view will always be burned in my mind, no matter where I go. I don't know. Things change. I sold the property here. I will never live here again. 171 is slated to be demolished. They're going to build a bigger house here, as they always do. And this whole neighborhood has changed. This was originally a front porch. So much nice natural light and that view. The dining room. Stained glass window, that's a pretty cool touch. A lot of these old houses had them. A lot of houses on 8th Street had them. It's the kitchen. Still have that awesome view. Small kitchen. They didn't build these houses very large back then. I don't really need to do this whole walk through the house because I have a video walkthrough on my channel, but just for prospect, just wanted to have something. Rooms were small. Back in the day, that's how they did it. My bedroom was about the size of that last room. This was the master. View. Wow. I'd have no reason to come back here again. That's it. It's pretty much over with. I did my duty here. I sold the property. It's an end of an era. I wish the people who live here all the best, and I hope that they have all the fond memories that I had being here for the 40 years that I owned this property here, that I can remember. Yeah. A lot of good times. I mean, I could tell a lot of stories, but this video would be hours long. And maybe in the future I will. Maybe in the future I'll revisit this street again. A little update when they build whatever they're gonna build here. And that's it. It's my memories, that's my childhood. This was my home. I used to shovel this whole way from 9th Street to 8th Street. Shoveled for all the old people on the block. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so when I drop another video you get a notification. This has been Good Guy Glenn over in Cresskill, New Jersey, Magnolia Avenue, 8 block, my old neighborhood. Thanks for watching.